Everyone at this point knows who Luigi is, right? He is Mario's little brother and the very definition of a second player controller. And like the second child, Nintendo just kinda forgets about him.
But as we always say, neatness counts.
That's right, Mario. And by the way, a little piece of spaghetti.
Spaghetti!
Your overalls.
Luigi, and you have a little bit of spaghetti sauce on your shirt, as usual.
Oh, really? Your shoes are dirty.
And your socks don't match.
Yeah, you got 5 cavities.
We already talked about one of the games that he starred in, Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube. You don't have to watch that one to catch up to here. It was my 4th game review anyway. Compared to my newer stuff, the quality is definitely not as good. But for a 4th video that I've ever made for this channel with no prior knowledge on how anything works, I think it was pretty good. I should really consider remaking all those old videos sometime in the future, maybe. Anyway, Luigi's Mansion was not great. Now, it wasn't bad, mind you. It was a pretty entertaining 7-hour game that, unfortunately, the controls and the end boss fight do hold it back tremendously today. But it's definitely a you should play it at least once kind of game. If it was in any way easy to get. Come on, Nintendo, why re-release Luigi Mansion 2 on Switch and not the first one? Then there was the Year of Luigi, which could easily be changed to the Year of Where's Luigi. Cause, throughout the entire Year of Luigi, Nintendo released a total of 4 games for him. Kind of. Only 2 of these games count as actual games in which they're just sequels. The first one was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the second game in the Luigi's Mansion franchise. More than 10 years after the first one, mind you, and it was hoping to kickstart the Year of Luigi. One whole other game of it. The second game being Mario and Luigi's Dream Team, which technically isn't even a Luigi-centric game when you think about it. It's the 4th game in the Mario and Luigi's franchise, which I do love. So much that I haven't played past the 3rd game. But yeah, those 2 were the only actual games that came out for the Year of Luigi. The last 2 was just a reskin of New Super Mario Bros. U and Dr. Luigi, which is just Dr. Mario, woohoo. But did you know that Luigi's Mansion was not the first time Nintendo gave Luigi a game, even though it feels like it is? It's true. About 10 years prior, they did give Luigi a game. That's right, baby, I'm talking about Luigi's Hammer Toss! It's a Game & Watch LCD game promoted by McDonald's in the US and Japan, and that wasn't available for retail. There were 3 games in total. There was the before mentioned Luigi's Hammer Toss, Mario's Egg Toss, which I don't know for sure, but with the brief bit of reading I did, I'm gonna go ahead and assume it was just a reskin of Luigi's, or more likely Luigi's was just a reskin of Mario's, and Princess Toadstool's Castle Run. And that's the most I got out of these because the only other way I can learn about it was buying them, and they're very expensive, and I can't even begin to think how I would capture footage for this. But I told a bit of a joke. Even if you consider this a game, this isn't the one I was talking about. In 1993, they released Mario is Missing for both the NES and the SNES, which kind of surprised me. I didn't know that there was an NES version. And there's also an MS-DOS one, which is where the Ouija character actually comes from, if you didn't know.
The door locks! Ellie, boot up the door locks!
I'm Luigi, number 1. Yahoo!
We will most likely just be talking about the SNES version today, though. From what I understand, there isn't a huge amount of differences between them. The NES one, of course, being the most limited of the bunch. And there was also a re-release of the game on both Mac and CD-ROM for Windows, which includes voice acting.
Hi, Luigi. We figured you'd be coming by. Pity you're never gonna see your brother again.
Had I known about this before writing, I probably would have picked the PC version. Maybe not. The gameplay does look slower, and the SNES is Nintendo's home console, so maybe the SNES one will be better. But I will probably talk about the other games as well throughout this review. For now, though, let's just move on to the beginning of the game. What the heck happened? Well, let's just sneak a peek into the instruction manual. Oh no! Bowser and his bad boys... Bad boys, really? Are back to a life of crime. I don't I don't think they ever really stopped, but whatever. This time it's not Mario's world, it's your world. Oh my god! Except they literally say that Mario and Luigi's from Brooklyn on the same page, so it's Mario's world actually. Okay, so Bowser just starts thinking with portals and has his Koopas go around the world to steal a bunch of artifacts so he can sell the loot and buy, get this, hair dryers so that he can melt the ice in Antarctica and flood the world. Which, from the brief bit of research I did, it's believed that if all the ice were to melt, all the coastal cities would be flooded. And just the coastal ones, it looks like. Also, good job picking your super secret lair in the coldest area on Earth with your army of cold-blooded reptiles, idiot. I don't know, I'm no zoologist, but it just seems like a bad idea to me. But the Mario Brothers are there to stop him, and Yoshi is there somehow.
Here comes Yoshi.
But Bowser has one last trick up his sleeve. He kidnapped Mario. Mario is missing.
And you gotta help us.
So it's up to Luigi to save the day. And since he wasn't given another game for like 10 years after this, you can just guess how well that went. But anyway, let's just get this game review started finally. In the CD-ROM version, there's an actual opening movie, complete with voice narration. Okay, this was cool back in the day. Now, it's still pretty cool, even if it does sound like this.
Deep in the frozen expanse of the South Pole, Bowser's brand new castle looms large. Deep within, the Chief Koopa hunches in his room of gloom, plugging in high-powered hairdryers.
Come on, bro, you're dragging. I'm practically a popsicle, Mario. Are we there yet?
But wait, it's those stout-hearted pipefitters from New York. This is a ray of hope.
I'm a-going in, bro. Those crazy Koopas must have been stopped or all this will sooner be puddles. Right. I'll watch the back door. Be way careful, Em. Bowser's one rascally reptile. And remember, don't take candy from strangers. Oh.
Mario, you had one job! But at the very least, this opening is a lot better than what the Super Nintendo one gives us. In the Super Nintendo version, we get this Flash game-like opening with Mario falling into a pit, and then he just ends up in Antarctica somehow, and Luigi was waiting for him with Yoshi. Would Yoshi also be able to survive in the Antarctic? Well, glad you could drop in, bro. Luigi, you're not even going to ask if he's okay? That looked like a pretty hard fall. Come on, let's go.
Uh-oh.
You wait here. I'm gonna go find him. What? The fuck do you mean you're gonna go look for him? I found him. He's down in the trap door fighting the Rancor. And what? You're just going to leave Yoshi behind as well? Why? What benefit do you have leaving Yoshi behind? Sure, in Mario World you leave Yoshi behind when you enter castles, but you should at least let him go in. It's warm in there. Also, I do love Yoshi's reaction here. Okay, so the game starts us in a room with Ludwig's face on the wall and 5 doors to go through. Okay, so we have 5 levels, and Ludwig is the boss after this, I guess. Sounds good. Let's go to the first level. I'm ready for some platforming. What the heck is this? I know we're in the real world, so I guess the background is accurate at least. But you got Einstein over here running around with Koopas. I can stomp on the Koopas, and then they just disappear. They can't hurt you, which is really weird for a Mario game. I hope this isn't like a bug or something.
Hey, Einstein, I'm on your side.
Oh, well, look at this. The Koopa just exploded and dropped this thing. What, do I pick this up? Okay, I can pick it up. It looks like I picked up some quarters. Okay, well, maybe Peach here can tell me what's up. Why is the Treve fountain closed today? What? Yeah, like the sign said, bub. Coins were stolen from the fountain and we can't reopen till it gets returned. Here's a pamphlet. Okay, 1. Peach sounds like Wolverine. I know it's not really Peach, it's just a random citizen using Peach's sprite. I read that this might be Daisy, but that was unconfirmed, and let's face it, not only is Peach a sprite from Mario World, but also no one really remembered Daisy existed until the 64 games. And 2, really? They closed the entire fountain because some coins were swiped? I know, it's illegal to take coins from the fountain, and my god, there's a lot of coins that get thrown in that fucking fountain. But if we just go by the picture, there was a total of 50 cents taken from the fountain. which, according to today's money, that's roughly about half a euro, which is still nothing compared to the thousands of euros that get thrown into the fountain each day. And yes, it's safe to assume that Bowser and the Koopas took more than 2 coins from the fountain, but they're kinda stupid, and I think it's funnier if they only stole 2 coins. What's even crazier is that apparently the president of Italy has given a $1,500 award, why the fuck are you giving out American bucks for this, for its swift return. And no joke, I literally just killed the Koopa that stole it right in front of it. So either he just stole it, and this is the fastest news outlet in the world, or the Koopa was just emoting in front of the fountain, and because it's a turtle, they can't arrest him or some shit. Okay, I want to return the coins. Okay, but you're gonna have to prove your goods are authentic by answering a few questions. Wait a Waluigi minute. Answering trivia? About historical landmarks? This isn't a platformer! Well, let's see what this game really is, gang. An edutainment game? That's right, Nintendo packaged an edutainment game and disguised it as a regular game. Kind of. Not really. Yeah, the box doesn't outright say its entire purpose is to teach your kid geography. The most is this one sentence that says, "This is no Koopa stomping mayhem."
And I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas.
But that could mean literally anything, but also it's a fucking lie, because here's Luigi stomping on Koopas. And yeah, the box art makes it look like a Super Mario World, but on the planet Earth kind of thing. But they never really meant to hide that detail, actually. See, back in the early to late 90s, edutainment games were actually really popular, and Nintendo was trying to capitalize on it. So they licensed the character out to Software Toolworks, and that was the most Nintendo was a part of this, apparently. They just gave them some Mario characters and said, make a learning game out of this. So really, Luigi's first leading role in a game wasn't even Nintendo's decision. This is also the first Mario game not developed by Nintendo themselves. And the team wanted to make a game to compete with Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, apparently. This was originally just supposed to be on the MS-DOS, and Nintendo later re-released it into the NES and SNES later that same year. Only in the US and Europe, with Europe only getting the NES and SNES version. Japan got none of this, which is kinda weird, but Software Tools is a US-based developer, and the deal originally was between them and Nintendo of America specifically. Which also explains why the NES and SNES uses assets from Mario World, and the MS-DOS version uses their own design. But anyway, back to the trivia. You're given 2 questions to answer about the landmark in question, like this fountain for example. You answer them right, and congratulations, you got them right. Answer them wrong, and not Peach here goes, another fake. Come back when you get your facts straight. Goodbye. And then you're just stuck standing there for like 30 seconds before she's willing to talk to you again, and you get asked the same questions. So, really, there is no penalty for getting the answers wrong. And sometimes you'll be asked a combination of 2 answers, so that you can get a pair of questions that are really easy, like the Trevi Fountain is what? But then sometimes you're given a question about height or something difficult, and you'll most likely get it wrong. The only actual punishment you get is that by waiting to try again, your time bonus slowly ticks away. But that's just for like a point total at the end, which, who really cares? And besides, I have no idea how you can maximize the time bonus. I almost always lost it, even just by beelining it to returning the items and getting Yoshi out here immediately. Oh yeah, so the reason why Luigi left Yoshi behind was so that he can trek across the globe to find Luigi. Which is not only extremely fucked up that you're making him walk miles and miles just to get to you, there's also no reason for it because he can go down the pipes with you to go back, so he can come with you at the very beginning. But whatever, that's where the learning geography part comes to play, because you have to figure out where Luigi is. Which you can figure out fairly easily actually. Like, the newspaper pamphlets you are given most of the time tell you exactly where you are, but you can also ask the locals where you are and facts about the item you're holding. This part is completely unnecessary. Yeah, it's a learning game and the point is to learn, but you don't really learn anything from these guys. In fact, some of the stuff they say is actually wrong. Like in Paris, for example, one of the locals state that French fries originated from France, when in reality it's heavily disputed where they were invented. It's either Spain, France, or Belgium. In the PC CD-ROM version, you have to use the phone to call people and ask them information and to return the items to them. In the deluxe edition, they also have voices as well.
His famous nickname is Alcatraz means what in Spanish? At last!
And yeah, I had to look up the quotes online because after the first few stages, I just stopped talking to them. Oh, it was the mayor who authorized the $1,500 reward. I don't know if mayors have that kind of power, but whatever. We can now go inside and take a picture. Oh wow, that's so nice. Almost makes me forget that my brother is in danger. Okay, so I'm in Rome, Italy, obviously. So let's just get Yoshi over here and see what the next item stolen is. Let's see, the entire Sistine Chapel ceiling? The entire fucking ceiling? So Bowser just came in and swiped a huge portion of a building. And the price for its return, the ceiling of arguably one of the most important objects in Italy's history, you know, the Pope only fucking lives there, is worth less than a few coins that were thrown into a fucking fountain? Yeah, there's a $2,400 bonus, but I have no fucking clue how you get that exactly. I only got the $900 when I did return it. And get this, the third item is a random spear from the Colosseum, which, while worth more to the Italian government than Michelangelo's greatest work, is still worth less than a few coins from another nation who the person whose face is on it never even stepped foot in Italy. Screw this, I have Yoshi and an entire ceiling on my back somehow, let's just move on. The city was not secured. Bowser's hordes of Koopas filled the streets, pulling families from their homes and executing them on the streets. Fires filled the air of the once grand city of Rome as the Pope called out for help from a god who would not answer. Well, that was unnecessarily dark. So yeah, that's really it on terms of gameplay. You go around the world finding 3 objects of the areas that the Koopas took, and you have to return them by answering some trivia questions. Like the next area, for example, is Kenya, where one item was a Maasai headdress from the Maasai tribe. Their lives revolve around their cattle, and the money they make from trading them. That's sort of true. While cattle is a big part of their lifestyle, I didn't really see anything that says that they trade them. It's just that the amount of cattle they own and the amount of women and children they have is important to them. And also, this entire thing, from what I can gather, is almost completely bullshit. Sure, there is a warrior initiation at the ages between 12 to 15, but I didn't see anything about them dyeing their skin a certain color, or doing anything with their hair, or hunting birds with blunted arrows. But you know what tribe does do that? The Samburu tribe. I don't think they used blunted arrows, and I didn't see anything about wearing feathers as a headdress. Also, they kind of skipped out on the circumcision. That's a big part of the ritual. But also, reading about what the tribes do as a culture kind of made me a little upset, so we're just going to move on. Well, here's the Homo Rudolphinus skull. Well, how old is the skull you're holding? Way old. Am I wrong? The Koopas also took a baby elephant, and they had to close the entire national park down, which, why did Bowser think that was a good idea? But again, we're just moving on. So you have to return the 3 items in order to secure the city, and that's really the only thing that matters. You don't need to talk to anyone else, and I don't think you get any bonus points for it anyway. All it does is waste the time bonus. But they do help if you don't know where you are, but again, most of the time the pamphlets will just tell you, and sometimes you can just guess by the background and by the music. This is China, isn't it? Yep, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get Yoshi immediately. And I think the locals might also give you an answer for one of the items you have, but again, you can literally get almost all, if not all of the answers from the pamphlet, which you can also look at during the questions. Dear parents, Mario is Missing is a fun way for your kid to learn about geography and world cultures. Discuss current events with them while they play. Hey little Timmy, you playing Mario is Missing? That's great. Wow, you got a random brick from the Great Wall of China. Do you know that China is one of the biggest communist states ever, and any form of protest could lead to you and your family's death? Here's a bunch of forms and evidence about it, including the Tiananmen Square massacre, and other evidence, including their terrible infrastructures and the building materials that they've been using for like 30 years and just got away with. Oh wow, you're in Rome, Italy now? That's such a beautiful place. Do you know at the time there was a huge anti-mafia movement in Italy that not only resulted in a bunch of terror attacks from the mob that resulted in a bunch of civilians getting killed? When the church condemned them, they just gunned down the priest openly in the streets. Oh, what? Okay, we secured China. Let's just move out of this communist country. What's next? Huh. Okay, this one's kind of hard to guess. Let me find an information booth and let's see. Why is the Kremlin closed? The Kremlin? Oh no, we're in the Soviet Union. Quick, Luigi, get out of there before Lenin's ghost gets you.
Get out! Get out of there! Get out!
So you finish these 5 stages and you have to fight the Koopaling that's on the floor. The first one being Ludwig, as mentioned before. And boss fights is not what this is. He just runs back and forth and he doesn't really hurt you. You just have to jump on him a few times and then he explodes. At least in this one you do something though. In the PC version, all Luigi does is walk up to a fire flower and then he just burns them alive. But it looks like the player doesn't really do anything there.
Side all along. Don't burn yourself with that fire flower, pal.
I've got it! Arson!
Alright, first floor done. Let's move on to the next floor, where we have to do this 5 more times. Son of a bitch! Okay, let's do this. France, gotta return the tricolor flag to the top of the Eiffel Tower, even though there's no flag on top of that tower. Sydney, Australia, they took Beethoven's music sheet, which they should have done on Ludwig's floor, honestly. Mexico has the yellow filter. Argentina, which is probably one of the worst places Luigi could be running around at the time with all the problems they were having. And Athens, Greece. Okay, finish those 5, now we gotta fight Iggy, step on him a few times, and he's gone. Okay, up the stairs, and goddamn son of a bitch! Am I gonna have to go through the entire Koopaling line? Well, no, thankfully this is the final floor for the SNES version. The PC one having 5 floors, and the NES version having 7 floors. So, yeah, the Super Nintendo one is the superior one. Okay, let's just get through this. Why is King Kong one of the objects that are stolen? He's fictional. Why would New York want him back? Fuck. I did it. Alright. Last boss fight is Roy. Just like the other 2, you step on him till he explodes. And now Luigi confronts Bowser. And they couldn't even bother to give us a boss fight with him. This is just a cutscene. Bowser, why the fuck would you think about setting this up? Why did you think this was a good idea? And then he dies? The PC version has Luigi rip Bowser's shell off and then kicks him off the tower. And there was a bunch of cut voice lines in this part, and I don't really know why they cut it, considering that the rest of the game has voice lines. I guess it was just like a time thing, but it's basically the same ending. Okay, game over. I'm done. Never have to play this game again. While I don't think this game is bad, it's playable. It kind of does what it set out to do. It teaches kids about different cultures and history. And I can see kids enjoying this, but it's a super simple gimmick with little to no incentive to actually learn about the world besides parents encouraging them to do it. And it's not like any parent would actually read that part of the instruction manual. And the lack of replayability, you get the same areas every time with the same items stolen. After a while, the game just gets stale and boring fairly quickly. Which, to be honest, might not affect a kid playing this. They could probably enjoy it. But it's very likely they're going to also end up being bored as well. And a lot of pointless gameplay aspects I didn't really mention, like the warp pipes, because they were completely pointless. It would be nice if you go to one of the other places shown on the map, and maybe a few different items to find, and maybe even a difficulty switch would have added a lot to this. But for edutainment, it could have been a lot worse. At least it tried. And it won't actually be the last Mario edutainment game to come out. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and comment down below. It helps my video get out there on the internet and helps my channel get seen. And don't forget to subscribe so you can be alerted to when new videos are out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, you take care.